Good morning, folks, and happy Tuesday. Kind of a miserable day down here in South Florida, but not as bad, obviously, as over the Bahamas and the islands. Just got and still getting absolutely obliterated under this just slow-moving storm. So kind of a tropical storm warning, hurricane warning, all sorts of stuff down here. And we're praying for the folks in the Bahamas. And man, it just looks like it wiped out. That's essentially their Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 that just blew through there and sat there for essentially a day. Is just bad. So, but we're okay down here in South Florida in Boca Raton. As it kind of is going to make its way up the coast. Operations normal. We're going to do our primary live trade brief today at 1 o'clock. And then tonight, obviously, weather and conditions permitting, doing the second full throttle training session. Okay, like I said, we're under a tropical storm. What is it? Or no, technically we're under a hurricane warning, I believe it is. So I haven't lost any power yet, but we'll try and proceed with operations as is for now. Already sent out a weekly options trade, a bear call spread on FXI. It was up about $300 a couple of seconds ago. That's the iShares China ETF, the 39.5/40 bear call spread. We had two weekly options, another great weekly options portfolio hits last week. Two shots, two kills, a bear call spread on FXI, hit max profit of $1,800, and then the S&P 500 bear call spread, another one right through the bullseye for about $1,900. So about $3,700 on two trades and profits last week. And check out the bear call spread on the S&P 500 that expires this Friday, Monday today. So the 29.45, 29.50 is going to expire this afternoon for a maximum profit. We put this on last week, folks. I said we weren't going to even get close to going through this 50-day moving average and to sell into this rip. We'll get into the particulars in a couple minutes here, but every one of these rips, especially a 3-day, you ready? 1, 2, 3 rip, implosion. Rip, implosion. 1, 2, 3 rip, implosion. 1, 2, 3 rip, implosion. This thing, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, folks. This is easy. This is easy money here. So look at this. We're going to make $2,600. So essentially nearly what? Almost $7,000 in 3 weekly options trades, folks. We're having an absolute blast in this market. If you're not, you're doing it wrong. Look at this, folks. Up to the 50, fail to the 50, fail to the 50, fail to the 50. We're going lower, ladies and gentlemen. The only reason the market rallied last week was what? The president didn't say anything. Think about that. This market is going up on the president not tweeting that about trade war. That's why the market. Okay, that's free money. Did you think he was never going to tweet about China again? I think he kept his mouth shut for a little bit just to see if it would do any good, and it didn't. What happened over the weekend, man? September 1st, Sunday, the tariffs went into effect. China hit us, we hit them. Folks, this is free money. Sell every one of these rips. And the president back on Twitter today. For all the geniuses out there, many who have been in other administrations and taken to the cleaners by China, that want me to get together with the EU and others to go after China trade practices. Remember, the EU and all treat us very unfairly on trade. So guess what? We get done a trade deal with China. He's going after the EU. Will change. Germany and so many other countries have negative interest rates. They're getting paid for loaning money, and our Federal Reserve, here it comes, fails to act. Remember, these are also our weak currency competitors. And that was what, an hour ago, and here's another hour ago. We are doing very well in our negotiations with China. While I'm sure they would love to be dealing with a new administration so they could continue to rip us off $600 billion a year. 16 months plus is a long time to be hemorrhaging jobs and companies on a long shot. And then think what happens to China when I win. Deal would get much tougher. In the meantime, China's supply chain will crumble and businesses, jobs, and money will be gone. By the way, Google is interfering with this election. They are colluding with China. That is an absolute fact. China essentially Google is an arm of the People's Liberation Army. China is manipulating search results. This is the same Google who admitted a couple weeks ago, or didn't admit, but one of their insiders leaked it, who was a Hillary Clinton supporter, leaked that they conservatively think that they changed 2.6 to 16 million votes, ladies and gentlemen. You want to talk about collusion and interference in an election? It's the liberal media and it's the liberal tech companies that are going to try and bring this guy down. But I digress. We're doing awesome here, folks. $2,400 in a couple days on a bear call spread on the S&P 500, and this is a no-brainer. We'll talk about this in the primary live trade brief at 1 o'clock, but I'd be looking at again to get bearish on the S&P 500 out to this week. We did a Monday trade. We might do a Wednesday trade. All right, let's do a quick brief. Where are we? Hong Kong. Not getting any better, just because the president was silent on China. Did you think the protesters were going to give up? So this is getting better. So China, Beijing, asserts power to declare what? An emergency to quell Hong Kong unrest. So Hong Kong, the China's top office for Hong Kong affairs lays out specific measures for the city's leaders to address protest. It's getting worse. Does anybody think this gets better? Does anybody think that the CEO of China sitting down, the chief executive sitting down with protesters and talking is going to do anything? No, this is getting worse and it ain't going to get better. There will be no trade deal if this turns into Tiananmen Square. We laughed. I told you 3 or 4 weeks ago that Trump put is dead. That the ability for this here's what's funny. You ready for this? The ability for this president to talk the market higher is over. Well, that's wrong, Wiz. The market went up last week. Yeah, you're right. Because he didn't talk. Let me say that again. The ability for the president to talk this market higher has ended. Him not talking makes the market go higher. So maybe that was a little bit of a trial balloon out of the president to be quiet and see what the market did, and it went up simply because he wasn't yelling at China. Now today he's back to yelling at China. So the whole last week rally on we will resolve this trade war with a calm attitude and won't retaliate. I told you to sell into that, man. I said don't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have nailed every one of these rallies and told you to sell them, and we've printed money on doing it, and we're going to keep doing it. I'm having so much fun trading. It's not even it shouldn't be legal how much fun we're having. But the trade war is causing global issues. It's hurting small businesses, Asian trade, and there's a lot of great uncertainty. What did I tell you last week about volatility? I said to get long volatility. What did I say? Wednesday-ish or something like that when I'm like, the dude decided to stop talking. We're going higher. Look at that. Boom. Absolutely nailed it. But net, I'm going to reiterate also what I said last week. Look at that. What's going on? You know what's certain right now? The uncertainty. Let me say that again. Why is volatility? It's up, obviously, today, a 5% spike. But why is it going down? Just like we did in the last freak out. Big spike. And then what's certain is things are uncertain. People are starting to, or the market's starting to settle into this trade war a little bit, and volatility is actually coming in. But it's going to, as I said right here, predicted right there that day, I said, we're going to get a massive spike in volatility, and we're also going to what? Fill in the blank. Stay elevated. Volatility is going to stay elevated. I told you to stop calling it volatility and calling it uncertainty. As long as there's uncertainty out there, which there is, it's going to stay elevated. That resting heart rate is not going to come in at all. So obviously, market slower on trade tensions and weak data. What weak data? Let's go to the tape. Final manufacturing PMI, a little better. This is a big black red eye right here, folks. ISM manufacturing PMI, 49.1. Why is that a big deal? I get that it's red. It's a big deal because it's under 50. Whenever you see PMIs, ladies and gentlemen, and you see a reading below 50, it indicates contraction or recessionary conditions. That's not good. Construction spending, decrease. ISM manufacturing prices, big swing and a miss. Not good macroeconomic data. But to be honest with you, well, why is the market down? The market's down more on Trump tweets and trade tensions than bad data. Why would the market be up on bad data, Wiz? Because on September 18th, Jerome Powell is going to sit there and tell us what he's doing with interest rates. So we got 2.5 weeks of dead time before Jerome Powell speaks. What do we also get this week? Let's go ahead and go out into the future. On Friday, we get what? Non-farm payroll. We get the unemployment numbers, average hourly earnings. If these are good and in line, why would Jerome Powell cut interest rates? If these are a huge miss, maybe it gives him ammo to cut interest rates. So we have a lot going on this week. Bill Blaine with a great note out this morning. Markets remain caught in the headlights. Not really. If you're not, if you don't have a brain, you don't know what you're doing. We do. We know exactly what we're doing here. This has been like shooting fish in a barrel. A lot of insiders selling last month. Stocks are stopping. Stock companies are stopping buying back their stock, which is never a good sign. But then again, we're going to trade the hell out of this, folks. A little good news out of Amazon today, or for Amazon. RBC Capital Markets, big upgrade to $2,600. They're $400 below mine upgrade. My target price for Amazon is $3,000. Amazon not super rallying on the news, but nothing in the market is super rallying today anyway, which is fine with us. Up, I guess 1%, $18, but it was flat earlier when that upgrade came out. So seeing Amazon up in a down market like this is definitely good. Dow's down about 300 points. Remember, a big majority of the Dow loss today is what? It's Boeing. Boeing's just an absolute shit show, man. Obviously, it's not going out of business anytime soon. If it's not Boeing, I ain't going. But there you go. Big implosion in Boeing, 3% today. This thing sucks. Southwest American, most of the major airlines have delayed and canceled all the MAX flying through Christmas, through the holidays, the busiest travel time of the year. Boeing, implosion. But, again, it's not going out of business. Good news out of Amazon, also because it's what? I predicted this 4 or 5 years ago, man. When I first got I had a captain buddy of mine at FedEx, shot me a text like, dude, just heard that Amazon leased, didn't buy. If it flies, floats, or fornicates, you rent it. Leased 5 aircraft. I'm like, oh man, Jeff Bezos, here he comes. He's going to build his own. He's going to use you guys. He's going to use FedEx, UPS. He's going to drain you like a vampire, use all that great profit, and build his own. Absolutely love what's going on. Last week, the Journal had a great article about how Amazon's shipping empire is challenging UPS and FedEx. You heard it here first, folks. I reported this 4 or 5 years ago, and also said that in 2 years? Yeah. 2021, Amazon Air is going to have at least 70 wide-body big aircraft, which is just going to scare the hell out of these guys. I think there's enough to go around for everyone, but at the end of the day, when you think about it, folks, there's a finite number of people in the world. I get where people born every day and die, but it starts. They're going to start having to eat each other, and this will actually be a race to the bottom, kind of like the airlines, man. So FedEx and UPS buddies of mine who are pilots there, get ready for maybe some tough contracts in the future because Amazon is definitely going to squeeze you. They replace things with robots. I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm shooting this video, Amazon is landing airplanes without pilots with its drones. If they're going to be doing drone delivery to your house, don't they think they can do super big drone landing at their hub? Absolutely, they will. So, like I said, good stuff going on here. We're going to be in the primary live trade brief in a couple hours at 1 o'clock. If everything's good to go, as long as the weather, we don't lose power here, just kind of gray and crappy and rainy outside. And then we'll do the full throttle session 2 tonight. Okay? A lot of good stuff going on. We had a 92% win rate in August. Take a look at this market, folks. Boom, boom, boom. One of the most volatile periods I've seen in 27 years. 92% win rate with our trades here at Top Gun Options that we covered in the past month. Absolutely awesome. Discipline. We stayed disciplined. Some trades, remember, in these big swings, some days, some trades were on that were completely blindingly red. And I'm like, smoking on my lucky strike, like relax. Next day, max profit. That's how you have to be, folks. You have to stay disciplined. Stay disciplined to your trade plan. There was a trade on Friday we're going to cover. The VXX expired right at $27. We had an iron condor that made, was it $3,800 on about $3,800 in risk. Absolutely went right down to the closing second there at $27. Boom, max profit. Discipline and risk management equals superior execution. And in August, you saw some of the best execution on Wall Street, period. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. And I'll see many of you at 1 o'clock for the primary live trade booth.